West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
It's 9 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Tuesday, August 26, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Bill, I found this headline out of the Denver Post apropos to a big issue we were dealing with in our family.
What?
So our son was primed to get his learner's permit. Okay?
Yeah.
Went to sign up. 6-week wait? 6 weeks to wait to get that. And so my wife started looking around. She's like, oh, down in Canyon City, we can get it tomorrow. But we're going to have to drive 2.5 hours or whatever in order to go get it. So this is the headline of the Denver Post. Faced with week-long waits, Front Range residents hit the road for DMV appointments. Bill, the Colorado Department of Motor Vehicles has more employees than at any point, has more funding than at any point, has more people using their online services at any point, and has longer wait times than at any point.
Yeah.
What? I feel like I've solved all your problems for you. Like, we don't have enough people. Well, you have more people than any point. We don't have enough funding. We have more funding than any point. Well, we have more people demanding our services. No, you have more people using online services like online registration to take care of stuff than at any point. And yet, in light of all that, you have long waits. 6 weeks.
What's their customer base look like? Has that increased or decreased?
Well, I think it might be illegal at this point.
Oh, no, I'm just saying the customer base
may not be here legally.
No, the issue is that if they have more people, more things, etc. The other part of the equation is how many people are you serving? And the idea being, let's say that we own a snack shop that is at the Colorado Rockies game. We may be employing more people at our snack shop than we ever have before. We may have more things available to buy than we ever have before. We may have the best operating and ordering system we've had with little kiosks than we've ever had before. But if we have one game where the Rockies show up and only half the stadium's full, and we have another one where it's a Savannah Bananas and the place is sold out, chances are the lines are going to be longer functionally based on number of customers. So that's part of the equation that has to be rolled into this entire thing, is service-based for number of customers. Now, the question for me, I understand the anger and the frustration with the idea of waiting weeks and weeks and weeks for an appointment. Yeah, that stinks. The other question I would ask then, how long are you willing to wait in line at the office? If you want to show up and you want to take away the appointment to the DMV, how many hours are you willing to sit there and wait? I'm just curious.
Bill,
that's the
you're
solution.
missing the big picture here.
No. I still have PTSD from what happened beforehand.
The big picture is this is what happens when the government controls things. It becomes wildly inefficient, totally expensive. It's a pain in everyone's rear end. And this is who we want to control our healthcare system? Single payer. Let's march down towards single payer. It takes 6 weeks to get an appointment to get a license. And we think that these people can handle our health care. Unbelievable. This thing drives me crazy. All right. Feel free to join the conversation. 303-696-1971. Text us at 720-819-5115. Text messages already coming in on this one. Jay from Louisville, just a few months ago, I had to schedule my license renewal appointment almost a month out.
How long would you like to sit in the in the line at the DMV? What's your over and under based on? That's all I want to know. I just want to know what it is.
Complicated.
How many hours do you want to wait?
It's
That's what I want to know.
not complicated to provide these services. And yet we think that this same entity, our government overlords, can manage our healthcare services? Come on. All right. Excited to hear from you. Give us a call. Join the conversation. Now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Good Tuesday morning, 62, mostly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 77 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
They're the idiot savants of economic collapse.
Representative Ken DeGraff having to mix it up with the idiot commies at the state capitol in a special session. What a waste. He was on with Jeff and Bill last hour. Here's what Dems know how to do. Spend your money and send it right into the toilet.
You're right. I mean, we do point out that when you take on $100 million worth of debt, you're not actually doing any. You're not actually solving anything. You're pushing down the road. When you're taking away the qualified business income deduction, you're just adding to the cost of business, and that cost to businesses is going to be reflected in the cost to consumers, and that cost to consumers, of course, is effectively a new tax on the consumers, and it doesn't actually help the economy.
And he'll continue to represent us at the state capitol, even though he is up against a wall. The National
Could you
Guard,
imagine? Just like
no.
Those are the moments where
couldn't.
I kind of like I look at the Republican lawmakers. I'm like, God love you. That is not a job I want.
Man,
to sit down there and to just have no control or no power, and then you try to raise concerns. They put you in timeout. You sit around for 12 hours while nothing happens, and you just are watching pure stupidity at work. I mean, it's a circus down there. I can hardly sit in these committee hearings when I ran lobbying teams down there, just being like, you could pull 7 random people off the street and they'd do a better job than the idiots that run that place.
Oh, that has to be so hard, man.
Yeah.
So difficult.
All the
thank God for him.
Republicans heading down to the state capitol, Brandy Bradley, Ken DeGraff, Rose, all of y'all heading down there. We love you.
God bless you.
Thank
God
God
bless
you're
you.
doing it, none of any rest of us.
And if you love Colorado and America, stop voting for these knuckleheads on the left. They are the worst. The National Guard doing a fine job in D.C. How about in the Big Apple?
Tisch met with U.S. Attorney Pam Bondi to discuss several topics, reportedly telling Bondi New York City does not need the extra help. New Yorkers react.
We don't need the National Guard in New York City.
We're fine. I like the city just the way it is.
That's a tool, right? Like, this is a tool that we have to use. Why not use it?
While the National Guard is at Washington, D.C.'s train stations and monuments, the Trump administration has not ordered troops to New York. It comes as New York Governor Kathy Hochul's office condemns President Trump's executive order that threatens to withhold federal funding to cities and states that do not end cashless bail. I'm Natalie Migliori, NBC News Radio.
Now, Blake, can I just remind everybody and all of our listeners real quick that our mayor was very interested in using law enforcement for something. Do you remember this? I mean, Donald Trump had just gotten elected, and he was declaring that he would use the power of the Denver police to do what?
Oh, yeah, prevent him from doing what he needed to do.
ICE deportations.
ICE deportation. Yes, he was going to block him and going to create the wall, the human wall.
Yeah, he had no concerns about using the power of the police state to go down there and to stop something that was very seriously concerning to him.
Exactly.
ICE deportation.
ICE deportation.
So Trump wants to bring in troops to reduce crime, to reduce murder, to reduce carjackings, to reduce robberies. What do the left want to use police state for?
Yep.
Stop deportations.
To protect people who aren't citizens.
Exactly right.
Yep.
It is always illegal aliens and criminals first with them.
Absolutely. They're number one. And his buddy, Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, he was on with Joe Scarborough, and Scarborough actually asked him 3 times if Chicago would benefit from having 5,000 more police officers. What did he say? This is incredible. It's not a difficult question.
Would you also like to get federal funding to help put 5,000 more cops on the street in Chicago? Would that help drive down crime?
Well, look, policing by itself is not the full strategy.
No, I understand that. You've talked about the other things you want, and I said those are good and important programs, but I'm asking also, would 5,000 more police officers on the street in Chicago be helpful to go along with all of those social programs that a lot of cities are engaging in and having success with?
Well, look, here's the best way I can put it, Joe, is that in the 90s when I was in high school, we had 3,000 more police officers, and we had 900 people being murdered every single year in Chicago.
He would not answer it. I mean, he went for 3 minutes and still wouldn't say yes. Everyone knows it would help. Even this dad from Chicago, who sounds like every dad who lives in every blue city who loves their kids.
Our children can't walk around the community without fear of being hurt or kidnapped or having a drive-by. So it's what these numbers that they're expressing, we don't feel it in our quality of life.
They don't have the quality of life, and that's not fair. It's garbage. More police officers, more help. Phoenix is dealing with the aftermath of a massive dust storm that hit the area last night. A gigantic wall of dust made its way across the Phoenix metro area, knocking out power for thousands. The monsoon storm also caused flight delays at Phoenix Sky Harbor International. 47 says countries that don't remove digital taxes will be hit with substantial tariffs. DJT said he's going to restrict chip exports to those nations as well. Digital taxes are imposed by several countries on on companies like Meta, Amazon, and Alphabet. And the president, as Jeff and Billy talked about a few minutes ago, says Cracker Barrel should go back to the old logo, admit a mistake, and have a major news conference today after the customer response. He also said in a post, remember, in just a few in a short period, I made the United States the hottest country anywhere in the world. Love it. Broncos made some cuts on Monday, and the deadline to cut down to 53 players coming up this morning. Everyone tracking that. Looks like Shedeur Sanders is going to make the Browns. He'll be the third quarterback. He's going to have to learn and become a student of the game. He'll be number 3 as they trade Kenny Pickett to the Raiders. Joe Flacco will be the starter, and Dylan Gabriel, evidently they are happy with, and they should be. He looked pretty good. Just days away from college football, and don't forget, CU takes on Georgia Tech on Friday. Wyoming takes on, Akron on Thursday, and CSU is at Washington. Air Force plays host to Bucknell. 60 in Lone Tree, 61 in Greenwood Village, 62 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Subtropical moisture is deep and it's right overhead and will be overhead for the next several days, producing clouds, night and morning fog, cool temperatures, and occasional showers and thunderstorms through Friday. Highs will only be in the lower to mid-70s today, 70s to near 80 for Wednesday, low to mid-70s Thursday. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. you'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Phone lines are hot. Let's get over to them. Spencer, Elizabeth. Good morning, Spencer. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah, morning.
Hey, guys. To backtrack to the first hour about the freedom of speech and the order from Trump on the flag, I've had a lot of time to think about it. My question is, I don't support it, right? I don't support this order. I do believe that burning the American flag, even though I disagree with it, is a form of speech and it should be protected. How does a person attacking this order from Trump defend the compelled speech that's taking place or getting ready to take place in Colorado?
Help me understand that. What do you mean by that?
One is the state is telling you what you have to say, and if you disagree with it, you're in trouble.
So, you guys were talking a couple days ago about the compelled speech laws getting ready to take place around pronouns here in Colorado.
Right.
Is that not an infringement upon free speech?
100%.
So it's hard for me to understand how somebody defending compelled speech can attack this order from Trump, even though I don't agree with it. I'm having a hard. To me, it seems like this is an exposure moment, another trap set by Trump.
So, Spencer, it seems like what you're saying is that those that are saying that Trump's executive order banning the burning of flags is an infringement on free speech. I have the right to light the American flag on fire. And those people are also saying, you have to do what the government says regarding conversion therapy or pronouns. Otherwise, the government can sue you. That's the person is making the same argument.
Exactly. It's whether
Spencer,
it's compelled or limited,
I got a question
it's an
for you.
attack on free speech.
Maybe not. Is one of those expressions internal and the other being external? And what I mean by that is if I burn a flag, if I take it from you, that's vandalism. If I burn my own flag in a statement, that's one thing. But if I refer to you, that's something different. And so there can be consequences based on the language that I use and the context and where it is if it's directed at you. That's where the idea of the pronouns come in. Now, Spencer, I'm not defending the pronoun bill. I think it is completely and totally misguided because it assumes the individuals walk into the place of business and announce their preference for either their sexual identity or their pronouns. I disagree with that premise. I think the entire premise of how they're stating the law is bogus, and I wouldn't vote for it, and I wouldn't support it. But I see the difference as the burning of the flag is something individual, where when I talk to you and I refer to you in another one, that's external. Now I'm involving you and how I describe you and how I deal with you. That's different. That is closer to me. For me, that's closer to me taking your flag and burning it rather than burning my own flag, if that makes sense. Now, again, I can be wrong, but that's how I see the difference.
Well, do you think it comes down to people being offended? The compelled speech push.
Here's the thing.
We don't want to offend these people.
Here's the thing.
Do you think that's kind of what it comes down to?
Here's the thing, Spencer. I think that there's something very insightful that you just said there. I think on both angles, it's about not being offended. I think it's about not being offended that someone misgenders you or uses the wrong name, and I think it's about not being offended seeing somebody burn a flag. I think on both sides we are trying to protect our feelings. Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think that's very insightful.
Now, I could go as far as to say burning the American flag is an attack on America, and it's an attack on Americans. And that debate could be had. Now, I just don't understand why, when it's convenient for one side, they ignore it or they embrace it. and vice versa on both sides. This,
I know.
Like I said, this
here in the back of the
seems
class.
to be
My arms up.
an exposure moment. That's what it looks like to me.
I know, Spencer. Sorry, I'm doing the thing in the back of the class. We're jumping up and down. It's about power. That's the core of it. It is about power that I can take and control this behavior, this person, this expression, whatever it is. It's about that my group, my side, me individually can exert power. I can exert power based on how you define yourself. I can exert power based on who you say you are. I can exert power on how you behave inside of our society. Or I can exert power on how you can express your freedom. I can exert power on what symbols you're supposed to honor. I can exert power on how you have to behave. It's about power. That's the core.
That's disgusting. And to end it, the guy that was protesting out in front of the White House used verbiage, shall not be infringed on the First Amendment, which is, I'm
glad you caught
the only right in the Bill of Rights that has that verbiage is the Second Amendment. And the left has used the Second Amendment to wipe their posterior for decades. And so I just have to say, while I don't agree with this order from Trump, I'm less likely to stand up against it because the left has no problem trampling on the rights that I have that they disagree with. And that's sad. I have to admit it. That's sad. But it goes along with the entire premise of they came for this person, they came for that person, and I didn't stand with them. And when they came for me, there was nobody there to stand with me. And this is a shining example of that.
Yeah. Now, here's a question, Spencer, and I really appreciate the phone call. That was fantastic. Is at the core, if you are willing to compromise your principles to prove a point or in response to what someone else is doing, are they principles? That's the question.
No, I think there's a lot of assumptions in that.
Oh, but the idea is if this is my principle, if my principle is X,
no,
if I'm willing to
the
compromise
assumptions
them,
are that all things that are offensive are speech. So you're making the argument, for instance, that burning the American flag is at the same level as burning a pride flag, or burning the American flag is the same thing as burning a Quran. Part of the built-in assumption in all that is that whatever the protest is, all protests are therefore equal in themselves.
Now, what I was doing with that based on the principles is that if I believe so fervently in the freedom of speech or in the Second Amendment, but I'm willing to compromise on here and here and here, but it is my hard-fought principle, and again, it's different than a belief. And when you're talking about the principle, that's something a little stronger, something that you need to plant your flag on. And if you're willing to compromise and you're willing to change that, I question whether or not it's a principle in the first place. That's it. It's just a broad statement. I'm not necessarily cross-applying it to what we're doing here. I'm just talking in broad generalizations. That's where Spencer was going.
I think you could raise the concern that we want to have protected free speech in this country, and lighting things on fire is not speech. And so I don't think that violates the principle of being committed to free speech. One is an act of destruction, regardless of what it is.
Why would it be?
A cross, a Bible, a Quran, a flag. It is an act of destruction.
Why would it be illegal for me to burn my own flag, regardless of my motivation?
Because it is an act of destruction.
But it's
mine.
mine.
And we're saying that it is.
But it's mine.
Well, yeah, you don't have the right to drive your car into brick walls and say, well, it's mine.
But hang on a sec. What happens to that? The car, I've taken my car and I've crushed into somebody else's brick wall. I have the right to drive my car into my wall as fast as I want.
You sure?
Yes.
Sure about that?
Yeah.
Well, and
yes, I can take my car. Here's the idea. Here's the thing.
In this
I
case,
take my car and I run into the back of my.
Isn't about you doing this in the back of your own property.
Yeah,
this is about doing it. No, he specifically in acts of incitement and violence and rioting. So it's doing it out in public.
No, but he said it caused riots, and we don't see those riots. He's saying that every time you burn a flag, it causes a riot. That's not true. It's not true at all.
Okay, you're jumping around here.
No. I'm not jumping around. I'm jumping exactly where you were. No, you said
the question is this
he said it incites violence, and I'm saying it doesn't. I'm saying it doesn't.
Is the act of lighting something on fire out in public an act of speech?
Yes.
And I'm going back to the idea that just because you commit to the principle of free speech doesn't necessarily mean that you have to accept everything like the lighting of things on fire in public as free speech.
If it's
and
your
say
own
you're
and
still
doesn't hurt
committed to
anybody,
the principle of
you're
free
fine.
speech.
If it's your own and does not endanger anybody, yes, you can. Yes, it's free speech. Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Okay, I mean, I understand that's where you are, but I'm going back to your original thing about principles.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think you can be committed to free speech as a principle and not believe that the lighting of things on fire constitutes speech.
Yeah, for me, you're just bending it so that you don't agree that you're violating your principle. That to me is mental gymnastics because you're not willing to defend the actual principle you stand on because you are deciding to dilute it by saying, I don't agree with this form of the free speech. That's it. And so you've just decided.
And I'm just going,
you've
just
decided
because
what forms
you
it
do
is. So
something doesn't make it speech.
So it's not necessarily a principle. But yeah, that's it. So that's fine.
Okay, if you light a car on fire, if you take your car downtown and light it on fire, is that a form of speech?
Depends on where and why, but yeah, it absolutely could be. Yep, and especially if it doesn't endanger
that's
somebody
wild
else.
To me. That's not speech. That's
Sure
just vandalism. You're just
it's not
lighting your own
vandalism.
car
Hang
on fire.
It's not vandalism because you can't vandalize your own car. It's yours. You can't vandalize
dude,
your own car.
I just think you're wrong about that.
No, vandalism is doing that to somebody else's stuff. If I graffiti my own house, I don't get arrested for graffitiing my own house. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way.
Again, we're talking about out in public.
Again, but the idea is what's that crossing as far as what I can do to my own property. I can light my own property within reason on fire. Yes, within reason. And the reason is the idea of that my right of free speech ends at the tip of your nose. My right of burning my own car ends at the tip of your nose or where I put other people in danger. If I go downtown and I create a problem with traffic or I put other individuals in danger, other cars in danger, yes, now we have an issue because my free speech has now endangered somebody else based on that process and procedure.
I just think that the idea of lighting things on fire and then constituting it speech, whether it's a car or a flag, and saying that somehow the First Amendment protection on speech applies to that. Now, you may be saying I have a First Amendment protection to expression, but that's not the same thing as speech. Lighting things on fire is not speech. All right. Feel free to join the conversation, 303-696-1971, or call us at 720-819-5115. Let's talk about our friends over at Mountain High Appliance. Labor Day coming up. And at Mountain High Appliance, they're honoring all the hard work that you're doing out there with KitchenAid discounts, which are amazing, okay? KitchenAid has been one of the hardest working brands since 1919. Mountain High is clearing out KitchenAid's floor models to make room for new arrivals so you can take advantage of the guaranteed lowest price. Right now, Mountain High has Colorado's most experienced sales staff, so why would you go anywhere else? Get the Mountain High Appliance today and experience the difference. Mountain High Appliance, great options on KitchenAid. Take advantage of that now. We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Phone lines are hot. Goodness gracious. Same with the text messages. You all are awesome. We're talking President Trump's executive order prosecuting the burning of the American flag. Do you agree with this? Let's go to the phone lines. Ben Morrison. Good morning, Ben. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff. Can you hear me?
You got you.
Yeah, you seem to be really stuck on just the not lighting things on fire, which, I'm in total agreement with. Like, we shouldn't be burning stuff out in public generally, and we already have laws on the books, I think. But the thing that you don't seem to separate is they're going after content on what's being burned rather than just burning something. So there's additional fine or additional penalties and additional repercussions now if it's a flag versus somebody was like a T-shirt. That's, I think, the difference that the Trump administration is imposing right now, and that's where it's starting to impact free speech. If you wanted to fine them, give them the same penalty that you would for some demeanor or petty offense for a similar that was something that wasn't politically motivated, then I'd say, yeah, go for it. But
that's an interesting point. So you're saying that, look, if we were lighting a T-shirt on fire, if we were lighting some books on fire, we would be brought up on, charges related to lighting stuff on fire in public, which you just can't do. And this seems to make the punishment stronger because it is the American flag, therefore making the argument that your speech is infringed because the punishment is more stringent.
Yes, exactly.
I wonder if it could be flipped, though, because it seems like what's currently protected right now, like if you go out there and light a book on fire or you light a T-shirt on fire, you can get in trouble. But it seems like if you light a flag on fire, that's somehow protected speech. Couldn't that same argument be flipped?
Sometimes, but I think a lot of the situations are a lot more situational, where we see both burnings where, it's a group, kind of a mob that gets out in front of a mosque or something like that, and they burn Korans, or they go in front of, a Jewish synagogue and, burn some of their books or some of their materials. And the entire point of that is intimidation and to be threatening, which is kind of one of the tenets of terrorism, where you're trying to impose fear and physical violence onto your people. Is a lot of this stuff, I think, with the American flag isn't that. It's frustration with the government. I'm not condoning burning the American flag. I'm not saying go do it, but there's some people that are very frustrated with what's going on in America right now. And some might be saying, like, hey, I think our country's burning to the ground. This isn't the America that I grew up in, and
Yeah, and Ben, and what worries me a little bit about the idea of making burning the flag illegal is because at the core, it is about politics. It's about political representation and about free speech, and we're only going to make it illegal conditionally. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when a flag is taken out of service, the correct way to dispose of it is to burn it. We're not going to make that illegal. The people that are involved in that don't get charged with anything under this, and nobody's mad about that. Yet it is their job to burn flags.
Yeah,
Yet when when we ascribe politics and speech to it, now all of a sudden we're offended.
But I'm intrigued by the idea that we think that lighting things on fire because we disagree with them is a form of protected speech. I could say, I could hear the argument, and I think Robert Bork made this argument at one point, that, yeah, it would fall under the idea of protected expression, but the Constitution doesn't protect expression. It protects speech.
Well, is using the phrase protected expression just a way to say that I need to take away your ability to make that expression? Isn't that just a venue?
Not all expression is speech.
I know, but isn't that just a venue to say I need to take this away from you?
No. I mean,
sure it is.
Bill, I could have the expression, my expression is best made in a political thing with giant fireworks. I want to send up giant fireworks into the sky because that's my expression. The state of Colorado go, no, you can't do that.
Well, doesn't that matter only up and until based on fireworks, we have some rules there, but up and until it escapes your property. because that's the issue, is that if I'm burning my own flag, that seems to be legal. Just like if I want to crush my own Keurig dispenser or I want to shoot my own Bud Light cans because I'm mad. That's it. It's destroying your own stuff. That's the thing that I'm having a problem with, is that we are now going to criminalize the destruction of my property. That's overreach.
The argument is that not everything you do as a form of expression is constitutionally protected speech.
It's my flag. I bought it. That's the issue. You're telling me I can't do this to my stuff.
My fireworks.
That's the core. That's the core of it. Yeah, but you can do it up until it leaves your property.
Still on my property. Go ahead, Ben.
That's the point that I'm arguing, is it would be fine if it was being subject to the exact same laws as any other sort of material. But that's where you're getting separated, is now you're trying to impose additional penalties onto something just because you don't like the subject matter that's being burned.
It's an interesting point, Ben.
If it was the same as a T-shirt, if it was the same as a newspaper, or if it was the same as anything else, then I wouldn't really have a problem with it. If you're getting a petty offense or misdemeanor, I'm not sure exactly what the laws are regarding that, but it's probably a misdemeanor or petty offense to burn something in public. But when you're trying to impose like year-long sentences just because of the content, all of a sudden now you're negotiating or you're regulating content.
Well, and Ben, I appreciate the call.
Yeah,
I think it works on the other way. I think what it demonstrates is that somehow, because it's considered a form of speech, we're okay with lighting things on fire when we wouldn't allow other things to be lit on fire. All right. Anyways, if you love the debate,
yes,
and you want to see it live in person, you got to come to the IHOP tomorrow, because Billy and I will be doing that at the IHOP off of I-25 and Colorado Boulevard. But today's a big day for the IHOP franchise.
Huge day.
Joining us live now is the Director of Operations for IHOP, Bobby Hancock. Good morning, Bobby. Thanks for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, good morning.
Oh, thanks for having me. Good morning, guys.
You've had quite a morning. Tell us what you've been up to.
Oh, we've been cutting ribbons with Mike Kaufman. He opened us up today. We opened our new location at 18700 East 32nd Parkway here in Aurora, basically off of I-70 and Tower. We opened at 6 a.m. this morning, and right now we got about a full house.
People enjoying those pancakes. Not a problem for IHOP. They're not having any branding problems right now, like maybe some other chains are. They're delivering full restaurants, good food. Give us a sense of the atmosphere out there.
There's a lot of great chatter. We got families. A lot of corporate people are here. We have business people. A lot of people having fun and eating some really good food right now.
Now, that's Bobby Hancock. Bobby's the Director of Operations for IHOP. Bobby, this has been a work in progress for years. You guys have been dreaming about opening this restaurant. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we've been working with Aurora trying to get through some zoning issues, and finally everything came together. But yeah, this has been years in the progress. And now that we're open, it's just an exciting day here.
Tell us about the staff, how they're feeling. I imagine the work you guys put into opening a new restaurant is a lot.
Yeah. What's that thing that we don't understand about opening a new restaurant? What makes it difficult?
Jeff and Bill, what we do is we take like 2 to 3 weeks to train everybody. We train on every nuance that IHOP goes through. This way they're ready for anything that might come up. But the best thing is just getting them all hired and getting them to work as a team for the first time ever. And once they learn how to do that, it just starts humming along.
Out there, that's Bobby Hancock, Director of Operations for IHOP, I-70 Tower Road, brand new IHOP. That's a great location for people that might be getting to the airport a little early, right, and want to have some breakfast without paying those exorbitant airport prices. And once you land, you're hungry. You don't want to eat right at the airport. You want to get out of the airport, go have a nice sit-down restaurant. That place right there, I-70 Tower, right by the airport. New IHOP opening up.
Also, for all of us that are in the neck of the woods with KNUS, we understand that sometimes when you head out to the other part of the city, you got to roll back into this part of Aurora through I-70. And it can be a little bit weird. coming back through with 225 Interchange, Airport Boulevard, etc. Just, and the number of times that I have been swinging back there and I am starving, that I'm looking at these fast food places thinking, this is taking me 3 hours longer than I thought this appointment was going to take. And I'm rolling back and I'm thinking about all those places I want to stop for fast food. And each one of them's like, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat that. Now you've got something at I-70 in Tower. Something's going to be made fresh, absolutely delicious. And more than anything else, it's going to be a value. It's going to make sure that you're not going to feel bad after you roll through that drive-thru. You're like, oh, why did I do that to myself? Why did I eat and I got stuff all over me? You're not going to feel that way when you roll out of IHOP. So check them out. Brand new location, I-70 in Tower, and come join us tomorrow. We're broadcasting live at the I-25 Colorado Boulevard location of IHOP.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate this.
Bobby,
Hey, thanks,
congratulations.
Bobby.
A
Yes,
lot of hard work's
congratulations.
gone into this. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. My son thinks the world of Bobby.
Yeah.
While we were out hiking, he's like, man, Bobby's so cool. He gave me a T-shirt. I got a hat. It's like, some people look up to Major League Baseball stars and NFL stars. My kids look up to Bobby Hancock over at IHOP.
Hey,
I rock the world of him.
Awesome. I rock my IHOP hat everywhere because I know that unless you are that workaday Joe, unless you're there and you're pulling the menus and you're doing the hard work at IHOP, you don't get a chance to get an IHOP hat. I got myself an IHOP hat, so I am out there repping IHOP every chance I get.
Thank you, Mr. Bill.
Bobby's a great guy. You can meet him tomorrow at the I-25 and Colorado Boulevard restaurant as we'll be doing a live broadcast. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Iggy with the text message of the day. My favorite form of expression is an RPG.
That's funny. That is funny.
We have been debating just about everything today. And if you missed the show, go to 710knus.com to download the podcast. Special legislative session train wreck continues. We talked with Representative Ken DeGraff about being put in timeout by the Democrats. Something Bill knows a lot about.
Yeah. In fact, on the podcast, I think the description that they chose was that Ken DeGraff and Bill share a moment of understanding about being put in timeout. Which seems appropriate. Seems very, very appropriate. Yes. He is my spirit animal down at the State House this weekend. I love it. Or this week. I love it. It's fantastic.
Bill doesn't even care what you're putting time out for. No. He just likes the idea you are being punished.
Yes, exactly. Just the idea that you're just gumming up the works in the system. Absolutely. More power to you. Because he outlined for us, it took them 12 hours to start working. Imagine you show up at your job site. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. If you're tapping the keyboard or you're actually, digging ditches, doesn't matter.
And by the way, just a reminder,
to get to work.
You weren't supposed to be at work, right?
Yes.
This is special work.
Yes.
This is the boss calling you in.
Yeah, we're supposed to be here today.
Bill, we need you in here. And then you just sit around for 12 hours.
And you sit around for 12 hours. It also shows you how well the other party that's in charge had planned for your day. If you came in and the boss hadn't planned for anything for you to do today, and I don't know what's going to happen, you sit around for 12 hours, you're like, you're not very good at this. You're not really good. And I have a lot of questions about the direction your leadership is taking us at this point. All questions we should be asking. All questions we should be asking.
Billy and I also debating whether or not lighting things on fire constitutes protected speech.
Or is it just cool?
Fire.
Yes, exactly.
John Corliss is getting a good laugh out of that.
Fantastic. Fire. Beavis and Butthead.
And I love the way Trump has set up the left, by the way, on this point. At this, because
it is a nice setup.
You're gonna get Dems to go out there and go, I don't like what Donald Trump's doing, and start lighting American flags on fire in protest. Take me to jail, and we'll be like, all right, yeah, go.
Yeah, this could be interesting.
That's going to endear you well to the electorate. What's your platform? We light the American flag on fire.
Yeah,
it's like when they booed God at the DNC.
It depends. It depends on how they sell it. If they sell it as that group of people that were complaining about being canceled and complaining that people were telling you what you can and can't say, watch this. They do the same thing when they're in power. They'll just put you in prison for it. If they sell it that way. But I don't think the Democrats are that clever. They're not clever by half. They're going to mess this up. They've been given something that they can take care of.
By the special session.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, they just don't get it. They don't get it.
Today was full of debate. Tomorrow, debate will be live in person. You're invited to be a part of it. We'll put you on air. You can come down and talk and debate with us. We'd love for you to join us.
Yes. We're a lot of fun.
All of it at 710knus.com. You've been listening to Jeff and Bill.
We are KNUS.